All right, I'm Alexander Edward,
And I'm Tony Boswell.
and we are Minion Death Cult. The world is ending. Those who can't understand billionaires' adventurous and pioneering spirit are responsible. We're documenting it. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your show for the week. Thanks for tuning in. I wanted to start off this episode by giving everybody an update on UPS Teamsters negotiations. UPS, of course, being my employer, Teamsters being the union of which I am a member. We have until August 1st is when our current contract expires. So a little over a month until things get crazy. Our current president, general president of the Teamsters, Sean O'Brien, has said that we're not working without a contract. So come August 1st, if we do not have a tentative agreement between Teamsters and UPS, UPS will force a strike.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So they just finished all non-economic negotiations, everything except compensation, money, vacation time, paid holidays, that sort of thing. Stuff to do with safety, stuff to do with eliminating subcontracting, stuff that will help us secure more full-time positions, stuff that will put AC in future package cars.
Nice.
All of those agreements are tentatively, done essentially. So we began. There's also a good video if you're a Teamster, or if you're a UPSer, or if you're just curious. On the Teamsters YouTube page, there is a short video, 35 minutes or so, with Sean O'Brien and other members of Teamsters leadership, including rank and file members who are sitting in on these negotiations as representatives of rank and file members like myself, which is very nice. There's a video of them going over everything that they have secured in the non-economic bargaining process. There's a couple Q&As at the end that are interesting, and somebody asked a question about wage progression, which wage progression is what it sounds like. It's basically if you get hired on as a full-time employee, your wages are something for the first year, then there's something for the second year. And I want to say there's a 5-year progression. I've been a full-time employee for 7 years under a different contract, and it was a 4-year wage progression. Meaning you had to wait 4 years to get the actual full-time top rate is what it's called. I think it might be 5 years now. Even 4 years is too long in my mind. It used to be 6 months. It used to be.
I didn't know it was that. I didn't it used to be like that. That's wild. Because I've always known for you that it took 4 years. And you've always been very clear about I was lucky enough to do this for 4 years to get to this point.
Well, and it took me 9 years to go full time.
Yeah,
exactly. Once I went full time, it was like, once I decided to go full time, it was like, okay, I can wait this out on $20 an hour, because I was already making that as a part timer because I had been there for 9 years. So anyway, Sean O'Brien revealed that they're trying to get that down to 2 years in this contract, which I hadn't even heard about. I didn't even know the wage progression was up for debate. That's pretty cool. That's a big ask. That's a lot of money. It's a lot of money that UPS has been saving over the years, not having to give people their full wages for 4 whole years. So very interesting, very exciting to see. They went into economic negotiations with UPS last week and submitted Teamsters proposal for what they're calling the best, most robust, and most expensive labor contract agreement in union history. A lot of big talk coming out of the new leadership and the Teamsters, and I appreciate it. I aim high is what I say.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, especially considering what we're gonna get into right now. Just like got it's that you definitely should aim high. The way that they're not aiming, that they're aiming low on this
The
on the
company,
economic part.
the company, yeah.
Yeah, the company. Yeah.
So they went in there, they submitted their proposal, and then UPS submitted their counteroffer, which caused the entire Teamsters delegation to walk out. They called it an insult. They said it was disgraceful. It was insulting to the members, and then they walked out. And when I saw this, I was like, oh, this is just like a, theatrics for negotiating purposes, and I back it. Like, yeah, fuck you, pay me. This sort of thing. Don't insult don't insult me by submitting, this that we're worth less than this. And then I saw what UPS proposed. So this was leaked. This is allegedly UPS's counter proposal, and it is staggering. It is like breathtakingly bad, insulting. Let's look at some of it. This is the market rate adjustment. It's UPS wants the ability to alter employees' wages whenever they feel like it to attract better employees, and then take away that market rate adjustment when they feel like it. It's what they did during COVID. They started paying preloaders $6 more an hour to get them in the door. And then 6 months later, preloaders just looked at their check and they were making $6 an hour less without any notice.
That's so shitty. Especially because you've already done it. You've already done the work. It's already happened.
Yeah, they want to keep doing that. This is their new thing. Article 11, weekend work schedules. New article covering 6-day operations. Proposal concerning 7-day operations forthcoming. So they're going to try to work Sunday. They're going to try to work us Sunday as well. I know there's probably mixed feelings about that. I wouldn't, if I had low seniority, I wouldn't mind working a Sunday through Thursday shift or something like that. I think with Amazon as competition, I think FedEx also might deliver on Sunday. It's something we might have to do as long as it's done on seniority and, people aren't being forced to do it outside of seniority. Because right now they're forcing 6 days on people who don't volunteer for extra work. We're getting forced overtime every day because I don't know if the listener may not know this. If you go out in a UPS package car, you don't finish until all the boxes are gone.
Yeah.
You deliver everything in your package car unless you reach the 14-hour DOT limit where it's illegal for you to drive anymore. So they're sending people out with 12-hour days every day, and then they're making them work Saturdays. They're trying to make them work Saturdays too. That's something we're trying to get rectified in this contract. But yeah, right here. So the elimination of what's called a hybrid driver is a goal for this contract. The hybrid driver is the 22-4 classification driver. And what that is it's a driver that supposedly, theoretically, works 4 hours inside the building, loading trucks, unloading trucks, sorting, doing whatever for 4 hours, and then gets into a package car for 4 hours and delivers packages. And this was a bone of contention when it was introduced in the previous contract. And it's because for one thing, they're paid less. I mean, that's the big thing is they're paid less than a regular driver. So you're creating a cheaper full-time position, a full-time position that doesn't get the benefits of previous full-time positions. And then the company ended up doing what we all said they would do, which is using those hybrid drivers as full-time drivers.
Yep.
So now they just got a cheaper driver. Now they just got a driver that they don't have to pay as much as a regular driver. Bad idea. Bad idea if you want to keep offering, if your union wants to keep representing full-time jobs and careers. So our demand is to get rid of that classification altogether. No more 22.4 drivers, no more hybrid drivers. According to this leaked economic proposal from UPS, they did eliminate the 22.4 drivers, and they're I guess we'll see how they've what concessions they're expecting to get from us for doing that. I think that might be the source of these insanely insulting
Yeah,
offers.
wild stuff.
Yeah. So we get down here to wages. Wage increase as follows, split equally between August 1st and February 1st. So not only is there like a top rate, full-time employees also get like a modest wage increase every year on top, to keep up with inflation, to recognize your years of service with the country, with the company. The submitted wage increases here are 55 cents a year.
That's far from what did it used to be.
It was like $1 every year.
Yeah,
Something like that.
That's wild.
Yeah, and not only that, it's split. So your 55-cent raise is going to come in two 27.5-cent increments.
Nope.
through 2023. Yeah.
That just gets you. That just means you're going to be pissed twice a year instead of the one time a year.
Yeah. Okay. So new full-time employee wage progression and elimination of move to existing top rate. Okay. So my top rate now is $40 an hour, which people are hearing that probably for the first time and they're like, oh, that's crazy. That's nuts that you're a delivery driver and you make $40 an hour. And it's like, yeah, because I'm in a union.
Yeah.
Like that's
exactly.
that's how you get that.
Yeah. That's kind of the whole point. That's kind of what, what you're doing right now had to happen a few times to get there.
Yeah. And if anyone's doubting like the value of my labor, they can look at how much money we made UPS last year. 100 billion in revenue. Record profits from this company during COVID. And it was we who did that.
It's so wild hearing billion and then hearing revenue afterwards. That's so much money.
So they want to cut future drivers' pay. I don't think that this would affect me because I'm not a new full-time employee. I was already hired under a different contract. But this is what the future looks like for my industry, for my Teamster siblings. The top rate, $32 an hour. So cut down by $8 an hour. And then the wage progression is also looks to be lower throughout its increments. Full-time inside wage progression. So if you're lucky enough to have a full-time inside job, which there are very few, they want to start you at $17 an hour for a union full-time job.
That's wild. And it's like a laboring union job, one where you do have to get your back broken a little bit,
Yeah, you're getting dirty as hell. You're loading thousands of pounds of packages a day, or you're unloading thousands of pounds of packages a day, or you're reaching across a 5-foot belt to grab 30-pound packages and pull them towards you or push them away from you. And you're doing, 500 of those an hour.
And it's probably hot as fuck.
Yeah, they just want to eliminate top rate. It's so crazy. Yeah, the part-time employee progression would be the same, would be $17 an hour. Part-timers have been really neglected by the union. I've said this a bunch on the show, but part-timers have been kind of failed by previous contracts, and getting part-timer pay up has been a goal. I've seen Sean O'Brien say this with his, I've seen these words come out of his mouth that part-timers deserve a big raise, and that's what we're fighting for. That's one of our strike issues.
That's like one of your main ones this time around, right?
Yeah.
This
is the most insane one though to me. okay, so we had a COLA, we had a cost of living adjustment measure in the last contract, which says, if the cost of living goes up, then we get a modest raise. It was like 80 cents or something like that. They have now, UPS has now proposed a reverse cost of living adjustment.
Wow.
They've proposed a reverse formula to apply in the event of a deflation. So
Wow.
suddenly your money's better now. Your money's worth more now. Oh, okay, well, then we're not going to give you as much.
When we have like another like housing bubble, blow,
Yeah,
they're gonna be like, oh yeah, well now you don't have to pay as much anymore.
that's so insane. Hey, let us cut your wage. We can all agree to that. We can all agree that that's something good.
Listen, I know that you had to sell your house because you got foreclosed on, but now those other foreclosed houses are not as expensive as they used to be when they were first sold. So now you can try again with less money because we're gonna give you less now.
Yeah, this is staggering stuff. I mean, we made record profits for this company during COVID. We delivered people's entire lives to them during a mass pandemic. I was working 12-hour days for 2 years, delivering
Yep.
medical supplies, delivering food, delivering, just people's entire lives. Anything you ever needed to buy was delivered by a UPS driver. And the company profited hand over fist. They fucking made record profits. And it's our contention as Teamsters that we earned some of that money.
Mm-hmm.
And we're demanding it. And if they fail to see that, then yes, they're going to put themselves on a real bad strike come August 1st.
Yeah, I remember like at some point just being like, "Oh, wow, it's just the holidays for you all the time now." And
It
you're like,
was.
"Yeah, absolutely, yeah."
It was peak season
always peak
for
season
2 years.
for years, yeah.
Yeah. So I like what I'm hearing in the Teamsters group, like you always hear you always hear a little like, what do you call it? Defensiveness or uncertainty from union members when we're approaching these negotiations because they're worried about keeping their jobs or they're worried about paying the bills during the strike. We've been warning members about a strike for the last year. Save your money. If you're a full-time driver, if you're at top rate, you make good money so you can afford to save it. Part-timers, of course, are going to have harder time doing that, or people that are, not as far along on the full-time progression. But it was always, a reality. So I've been seeing a lot of complaining about this or that because we haven't seen anything from the economic proposals.
Mm-hmm.
But after this leaked, there's overwhelming solidarity in all these Facebook groups of just aghast, just a shocked silence at seeing what UPS would do to us if we didn't have they would probably do even worse than this if they didn't have the union to deal with. But this is what they want for us. And I think it kind of crystallized in people's minds why we are fighting so hard.
Yeah. It really kind of we've always been aware of the power unions, how important they are, but it really kind of sealed it. One of those things that kind of sealed it for me was seeing the union's response to this and seeing the people who are in the union's response to this. Because when I first was reading that about how insulting the offer was, I was like, my first thought was, well, fuck. So many companies done this before, and there's nothing you can do about it. And then I was like, oh, never mind. That's the whole fucking point. That's the whole point of all of this, is that you can do something about it. And they really, the instant response I saw was a lot of just, they're doing this to kind of, so we can meet in the middle, which is going to be there's going to be a little bit, tiny bit more for them to do now, but that's not what we're asking for. We're asking for a lot more. And everyone had confidence in it. And it's cool. So we got to strike over this. This is where it comes from. And to have that feeling and to have that power is so incredible. I've been part of so many jobs where they can just say, "Oh no, we're paying you less now." "Oh no, we're doing this or that," and you're powerless completely. And to see people have power still while countering this is really incredible.
It's very nice to be part of a union on a day-to-day basis, because if you see its effects just in the way you're treated at work, you see its effects in like your uh the tools that are available to you to handle when there is an issue at work.
Hmm.
Um but I've never seen a strike. I've never been on strike. I've been a Teamster for 17 years and we haven't struck since 1997. Um so this will be a very interesting thing to see if it happens. I don't want to strike. We don't want to strike. We would rather have UPS be a good faith negotiator and willingly give us what we feel we've earned, over the last 5 years. Um, but if it comes to it, it's gonna be crazy. It's gonna be like nothing we've seen in a while. Um, and a concern that I've heard, or like not even a concern, you get a lot of blowhards in these Facebook groups who just tell you what's going to happen. And you get a lot of people saying, oh, Biden would never allow a strike. The government would never allow a strike. Remember what they did to the rail workers? Remember what Biden did to the rail workers? He imposed the contract on the rail workers. They couldn't get their sick days. He's gonna do that to UPS workers. He's gonna do that to Teamsters. It seems to me on the face of it a very stupid thing to argue, but thinking about it opened up like a couple interesting ideas. So my first response to that is railway workers are under the Railway Act, therefore Congress can legally impose a contract on them. That's why they were able to do that with the railway workers. Now, I have a sign on my window at home that the Teamsters gave me that says unavailable to work on August 1st if we don't have a contract. The only way that Biden could force us back to work, what are they going to do? Send the National Guard? Fucking frog march us into a package car? Like, that's not going to happen. The only way that they could do this is by Biden calling up Sean O'Brien, and they're in communication. Biden calling up Sean O'Brien and telling him to back down.
Yep.
And I don't see that happening at all. I don't know, Sean O'Brien's a new president. This is going to be a big test of his leadership skills. It's going to be a test to see if he backs down from this rhetoric that he's talking about how hard we're going to fight for our stuff on this contract. And if we go to work on August 1st and we don't have a contract, I'll be genuinely shocked.
Yeah.
It does, like, from everything I've heard Sean O'Brien saying, he recognizes the moment we're in as a class, as a working class of people. The stuff that I've heard come out of this guy's mouth is inspiring and promising, because he talks about a labor movement. He doesn't just talk about UPS Teamsters. He's talking about wanting us to set an example for the rest of the labor movement. I think you could fairly call him like a militant or a radical within the union.
I think so. I think I hope that some of those clips of him, being the attempted grilling from that one senator, make the rounds again. Like that was a good example of how much he means it.
Yeah, I don't see him backing down. He would lose any credibility. He would not be Sean O'Brien anymore. He would be a totally different person. And the only other thing that Congress could do, Congress could try and pass a law saying it's illegal for UPS Teamsters to strike. And in which case I would strike on principle. I don't. I don't see this playing out any. The only way that they could avoid Biden or the powers that be could avoid a strike is if they went to UPS and said, UPS, you need to accept this contract. You need to get back to work because you handle 6% of the GDP or whatever it is. Too big to fail. So you need to accept this, bite the bullet, and do it. And I don't know, because UPS is a shareholder-owned company. They're a publicly traded company. They're answering to shareholders on this, and that's why you get these ridiculously insulting proposals from them, because it's like, oh yeah, we'll meet in the middle from this, and it's like, woo, you probably should have picked something a little higher that didn't make us all real mad.
Yeah,
because now
exactly.
it's going to be a lot harder. It's going to be a lot harder for you.
This also speaks to like the importance of like there is this misconception that you get a union, everything's going to be perfect, but there are some stronger unions than others, and I think the Teamsters are one of the ones that I think you really can count on, and like that's pretty important, not to get lost on it, because I think that some people do think like, okay, cool, we got the petition, we got enough signatures, now we're a union, now we could just do it. But they have the history, they have the lineage, they have the the reputation to actually do this, and I think it's really important that it's them, that's who you're part of for this moment that is going to be such under such a microscope, because everyone does deal with UPS.
Yeah. Well, there are 345,000 of us. That's just UPS Teamsters. That's not Teamsters at other shipping companies. That's not Teamsters at other warehouses. That's just UPS. Those are the members. We are the 345,000 people that will hit the streets on August 1st if we don't have a contract, and that's not counting any sympathy strikes that might also take place. It's gonna be crazy if it happens. But even though we're a big union, we had to fight to get to this point, because leadership, maybe even especially at big unions, can become complacent, can become friendly with the company, can become just simple business unions where they just do a handshake deal with the company, and we'll hammer out the details later. That's one of the reasons for the August 1st deadline, is because our last contract, we were working, I don't remember the exact number of months. We were working like a year after the contract deadline. We just extended the previous contract for however many months it took for them to do little minor alterations to the contract that we voted down. I've said this before on the show, we voted down the last contract and leadership forced it through. We had to fight to change the Teamsters Constitution to remove leadership's ability to force a contract that we voted down. And then we had to elect new leadership, which we did in O'Brien. This is the efforts of reformers within the union. This is the efforts of Teamsters for a democratic union, of which I am a part, which is an organization within the union fighting for more militancy, fighting for better representation. And that's why I'm willing to give O'Brien the benefit of the doubt. I like what he's saying. I like where his head's at. I like what he got what we got in the non-economic part of negotiations, and so I'm very eager to see him live up to the lofty goals he's set for us. And actions speak louder than words, and I'll be the first to say, if it falls through. But I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about that. We might have to strike, but I'm optimistic about this upcoming contract.
Yeah, and right now you have no reason not to trust him, which is good, because like you said, the efforts that have happened before is why he's there in the first place, and he hasn't let anyone down yet. So, we're gonna that's the cool thing about, like, I guess, the solidarity that comes with it.
Yeah.
That's. I hope he doesn't disappoint. I don't think he will. I feel good about it.
Yeah. So if anyone wants to help or show support, just mention how much money UPS made during the pandemic, record profits, how little part-timers make like 15 or 16 bucks an hour. Part-timers are the ones handling all the packages, getting those packages to my truck. UPS is like 60% part-time employees.
Yeah.
They're like everybody inside the building at the warehouse, at the hub, almost everybody is part-time there.
And anyone who's listened to the show long enough knows like how much that affects your job. You know, and how important it is for your job. You know, we've all heard you have to talk about like, oh yeah, I had to completely repack my truck. But then again, they're also, you know, paying these people nothing, and,
right?
Not giving them any benefits. So of course, and they're not here long enough to learn how to do it right. So of course, it's not gonna be done right.
No, anybody who cared about doing a good job fucking quit to go get paid $5 more by working at Target or whatever. Like you can't. You like, there's a reason if you're a driver and you're complaining about your load or whatever, there's a reason that person is loading your car. It's because UPS is so desperate they can't fire them for doing an awful job. Like it's not the part-timer's fault that UPS won't pay for good labor. Good labor ain't cheap, people.
Yeah.
So yeah, let people know what UPS made, let people know what UPS is paying part-timers, and let people know what they just proposed to do to us here at UPS. And also, if you're a UPS customer, you know, if your business gets UPS shipments or pickups, you can call 1-800-UPS and tell them to give us a fair contract. Tell them you like your delivery driver, they're a hard worker, and UPS needs to do right by them. And anybody can do that. If you got a driver you like, you want if you got a UPS employee that you like, call 1-800-pick UPS and tell them to do something for us.
And I got some news for you. If you're listening to the show, you got a UPS driver that you like.